Listen closely. The more you obsess, the further away your desires slip. Have you noticed? You chase something with anxiety, and it escapes. You fight to control every detail, and everything falls apart. What if I told you the K lies in the opposity? Relaxing, letting go, trusting, because when you stop forcing, the world begins to move in your favor. It's not magic, it's focus, it's presence. It's Stoic philosophy, mastering yourself before trying to master the world. And when you do, everything changes. People, opportunities, results. They all flow toward you, not because you stop doing, but because you start being. So breathe and get ready, because what you seek is also seeking you. In today's video, I'm bringing you 12 valuable lessons that will answer your every question, because, much like Murphy's Law, the more you chase, the further it drifts. Pay close attention to each one, especially the last, because it'll leave you speechless. But before we start, as always, if you find value in these videos, I encourage you to subscribe and turn on notifications to stay updated with the latest content. Let's begin. 1. Stop chasing. Start receiving. Some things, the more you chase them, the further they slip away. Not because you don't deserve them, but because you're seeking from a place of lack, from a desperate need to fill a void that can only be filled from within. The more you beg for love, the less love you receive. The more you crave recognition, the more indifference you face. The more you obsess over success, the further it seems to drift. Ever wonder why? It's simple. The universe doesn't respond to what you say you want. It responds to what you radiate. When you radiate need, urgency, insecurity, you're sending a clear message. Asterisk, I don't have. Asterisk, and that asterisk, I don't have, asterisk, becomes a magnet that repels exactly what you long for, because you're acting from scarcity, not abundance, from scarcity. You don't create, you plead. It's not about giving up, it's about letting go. There's a big difference. Giving up is abandoning. Letting go is trusting. When you let go, you're not renouncing your goals. You're freeing them from anxiety. You're allowing them to arrive in their own time, in their own way, without the pressure of your ego trying to control everything. Marcus Aurelius said it. Asterisk, accept what life brings you and love what you're given to life. Not as resignation, but as wisdom, as the understanding that control is an illusion. Asterisk, we've been trained to chase everything. We were told that if you don't run after what you want, you'll never get it. But no one spoke of the exhaustion, the anxiety, the emptiness that endless pursuit leaves behind. No one told us that sometimes the best thing you can do is stop, look inward, and ask yourself, where am I seeking this from? From love or fear? From trust or desperation? Life doesn't reward the one who strives hardest, but the one who aligns best. And alignment doesn't come from noise, but from silence. It doesn't come from struggle, but from balance. When you stop chasing, something shifts. Your energy changes. Your presence becomes magnetic. You're no longer begging to be seen, chosen, valued. You're no longer running after closed doors. You're re-being, inhabiting your center. And from there, what once seemed impossible starts arriving naturally. It's like a butterfly. If you chase it, it flees. But if you sit calmly, quietly, it might land on you. That's how many things in life work. That's how true love, abundance, mental peace arrive. Not when you beg for them, but when you know that even without them, you're already whole, already enough. Epictetus taught that we shouldn't demand things happen as we want, but want them to happen as they do. Because when you're at peace with yourself, the outcome stops mattering. What matters is your serenity, your coherence, your ability to stay calm, even when things don't arrive when or how you expect. Sure, you might still desire a better life, a partner to share it with, a job that inspires you. That's fine. What's not fine is believing you can't be happy without them, because then you seek from scarcity. And scarcity repels. It doesn't attract. But when you act as if you're already enough, already whole, everything shifts. You no longer need you choose. You no longer beg you attract. You no longer chase you receive. Try it. Stop running after what hasn't arrived yet. Focus on what's already here. Be grateful for what you have. Guard your energy. Let go of the need to control. It's not about abandoning your dreams, but trusting that the path to them doesn't have to be a constant struggle. Sometimes, the bravest thing you can do is pause and allow, because what's truly meant for you doesn't need to be chased, is only recognized, only received, only accepted, with the same calm as the SEA welcomes each wave, without resistance, without fear, without haste, just presence, just trust. 2. Anxiety. Anxiety doesn't shoot, it whispers. It disguises itself as urgency, perfectionism, extreme productivity. It tells you it's not enough yet, that you should do more, move faster, worry harder, and without realizing it, you live in a constant state of tension where every second feels like a race against time, and every day becomes a battlefield against your own mind. The most dangerous thing about anxiety is that it seems useful. It convinces you it's there to help you achieve your goals, but in reality, it's pushing them further away. The more you fret, the further you are from what you truly want, because anxiety doesn't build, it consumes. It doesn't move you forward, it wears you down. How can you create from inspiration if you're paralyzed by pressure? How can you connect with others if you're trapped in your head all the time? How can you make wise decisions if your mind is flooded with noise, doubts, and fear of the future? Marcus Aurelius put it clearly. Anxiety doesn't come from what happens, but from your interpretation of it. It's not the goal that torments you. It's the obsession with when and how. It's not the dream that weights you down. It's the belief that if you don't achieve it, you're already failing. We live thinking time is slipping away, that life is passing us by if we don't do everything now. But that urgency is a trap, an illusion. Anxiety pushes you to live in the future, imagining everything that could go wrong, assuming that if you don't control every detail, it'll all collapse. And all that does is disconnect you from the only place where you can truly act, the present, the now, where your power lies, where your calm resides, where your real ability to build exists. Marcus Aurelius taught that we must distinguish between what's up to us and what isn't proposed. But anxiety blurs that line. It makes you believe everything is in your hands, that everything you can't control is a threat, that everything you can't predict is a catastrophe. And so, you become a slave to your thoughts, a prisoner of your own expectations. The irony is, the more you try to control, the less control you have, because the control you need isn't out there, it's within you. It's in your ability to pause, breathe, let go of the need for everything to be under control. True power isn't in making everything perfect, but in staying calm while chaos unfolds around you, in trusting that even if things don't go as planned, you'll still be enough, I've had moments where anxiety cost me opportunities, not because they weren't in front of me, but because I was too busy doubting myself, thinking about what could go wrong, analyzing everything until I was paralyzed. Anxiety stole the now, and without the now, there's no action, just fear, tension, self-demand disguised as ambition. But one day, I decided to face it, not fight it, not run from it, just look it in the eyes and ask, asterisk, what are you trying to protect, asterisk, and I realized behind every anxious thought was a part of me afraid of failing, afraid of not being enough, seeking validation in the outcome. Instead of fighting that part, I started talking to it, calming it, saying, asterisk, you're doing fine. You don't need to rush. You don't need to prove anything. Asterisk, anxiety shrinks when you face it with presence, when you're kinder to yourself, when you stop demanding so much and start trusting more, not in the world, not in others, but in yourself, in your process, in your ability to adapt, learn, and keep moving forward, even if the path isn't perfect. If you're feeling anxious about your goals today, breathe. You're not failing. You're just forgetting that life isn't about getting there first, but getting there whole. Anxiety doesn't let you arrive because it breaks you inside while you pretend to be fine outside. The more you fret, the further you push what you want. But when you pause, trust, breathe, the path clears, your mind organizes, and then, without forcing, without begging, without running, you start receiving what once felt so hard to reach. 3. The power of letting go of control. We want to control everything, every decision, every person, every outcome. We live believing that if we don't manage it all, everything will collapse. And that need for control, which at first seems like responsibility, maturity, or foresight, over time becomes a prison, an invisible cage that traps our peace, our trust, and, above all, our ability to flow with life. Because the truth, as painful as it is this: life isn't manipulated, it's understood. You can't control how people see you, how they love you, or how they react. You can't force anyone to stay, or ensure everything will go as planned. Most of the important things in life, love, health, death, time, are beyond our control. And the sooner you accept that, the freer you'll be. The problem is we've been taught to fear uncertainty, to think that if we don't hold the reins, we'll get lost. So we become addicted to planning everything, predicting every step, demanding things be exactly as we imagine. But life doesn't bend to our expectations. It's not here to please us. It's here to teach us. And often, its best lessons come wrapped in surprises, twists, chaos, and things we didn't ask for but needed. Marcus Aurelius said, "The universe is in constant change. Your resistance won't stop it, it'll only make you suffer." Letting go of control isn't resignation. It's understanding that order isn't always where you seek it. Sometimes, losing something is finding yourself. Sometimes, things not going as you wanted is the best thing that could have happened. But to see that, you need space. And control leaves no space. It squeezes everything, pushes, demands. The need to control comes from fear. Fear of losing, fear of suffering, fear of not knowing what to do if something goes wrong. But the paradox is this: the more fear you have, the more control you want to exert. And the more you control, the more fear you feel. Because you discover that no matter how hard you try, there will always be variables beyond your grasp. Seneca taught this with wisdom. There are things that depend on you and things that don't, and your peace hinges on distinguishing them. But we live as if everything depends on us. We want to control others' emotional weather, the choices of those we love, the future that hasn't arrived, and all we achieve is living in constant tension, defending a territory that was never ours. I recall a phase in my life where everything was calculation. Every word I said, every move I made was measured, because I thought if I strayed from the script, something bad would happen. That if I didn't foresee everything, failure was inevitable. I lived exhausted, anxious, at war with reality, until one day I simply couldn't take it anymore. And it was there, in that collapse, that I found freedom. Control was controlling me. Letting go of control was like taking off a backpack full of stones. At first, it's scary, because you feel that if you're not pushing everything, it'll all stop. But then you discover something beautiful. Life knows how to move on its own, guide you, find its rhythm, even when you're not setting the tempo. Since letting go of control, things haven't become perfect, but they've become more real, more honest. I stopped fighting what I didn't understand. I stopped forcing what didn't flow. I stopped manipulating life to look the way I wanted, and I started living it as it is, with beautiful days and dark ones, with certainties and surprises, with plans that work and others that fail, but all with meaning. Letting go of control isn't about not caring. It's having the humility to accept. You don't know everything, can't handle everything, don't need all the answers. It's trusting yourself, the process, that even if you don't understand why something happened today, one day you'll see it differently and say, asterisk, thank you for not going as I expected. Asterisk, life isn't manipulated, it's observed, listened to, felt. And when you align with it instead of resisting, something changes within you. You stop living defensively, reacting with anxiety. You become part of the flow. And from there, peace isn't a distant goal, it's a natural state. 4. When desire turns to desperation. There's a fine line between desire and desperation, and, curiously, we often cross it without noticing. We start wanting something in a healthy way, a dream, a relationship, a life change. But at some point, that desire stops being an inspiring spark and becomes a suffocating need. You no longer want it, you need it. You no longer pursue it calmly, you chase it with anxiety. And that's when desire turns to obsession, and everything starts going wrong. What you seek with desperation hides by instinct, because life, for some reason beyond logic, seems to pull away what you crave most. When you desire it from emptiness, from urgency, from an energy that says, asterisk, if I don't have it, I'll collapse, asterisk, not because you don't deserve it, but because you're not ready to receive it from that emotional state. Because someone who begs isn't centered in lack. Marcus Aurelius said, un reflective desire enslaves yo. And it's true, when you desire without awareness, you become addicted to the outcome. You stop living in the present. Every day becomes waiting. Every action, an emotional transaction with the universe. Asterisk, look how much I'm doing. Please give me what I want. Asterisk, but life doesn't work that way. It doesn't negotiate from fear. It doesn't respond to desperation, because desperation isn't faith, it's distrust disguised as ambition. Desperation has a silent but powerful language. It shows in your gaze, your energy, your actions. You want to control everything, force everything, prove everything. You become dependent on external signs to confirm you're close to achieving it. But the more you watch the process, the slower it seems, because your focus is no longer on enjoying it, but on arriving. And when you only think about arriving, you stop moving forward with clarity. The Stoics taught that the key is to focus on what you can control. And desire, when healthy, is within your control. You can use it as motivation, guidance, a North Star. But when it turns to desperation, it no longer belongs to you. It owns you, drags you, turns you into someone who no longer acts with purpose, but with fear. And from fear, nothing blooms. There are moments when the best thing you can do isn't to desire harder, but to let go, breathe, refocus your energy. Remind yourself that you aren't what you achieve, that your worth isn't in getting what you want, but in how you hold yourself while it hasn't arrived. Life doesn't reward the one who applies the most force, but the one who maintains the most balance. I recall a time when I desperately wanted something to happen. My whole day revolved around that goal. I woke up thinking about it, went to sleep anxious for not having it, and all I achieved was exhaustion, frustration, and feeling nothing was enough. Until one day, I asked myself an uncomfortable question. What am I trying to compensate for with this? What part of me believes I'm not enough without it? And there was the truth. It wasn't the desire itself destroying me. It was the desperation I loaded it with. I started letting go, living again, remembering that not everything has to happen now, that not everything depends on me, that some processes require time, silence, trust. And when I stopped watching the path with so much anxiety, things began to flow. What you seek with obsession hides, not because the universe is cruel, but because it wants you to complete yourself first, to heal, to center, to receive without begging, to achieve without losing yourself. Because if you get what you want from desperation, you'll become its slave, living in fear of losing it. So today, if you feel something you desire slipping away, don't run harder. Pause, breath, check where your desire is coming from. If it's from lack, work on yourself. If it's from fear, return to your center. Desire is a beacon, not a chain. And when you learn to let go of obsession, what seemed far starts drawing near. Not because you beg, but because you're now ready to receive it with dignity, maturity, and peace. 5. Relaxing isn't giving up, it's trusting. We live in a culture that glorifies constant effort, haste, the asterisk, do more, asterisk, the asterisk, never stop, asterisk. And without realizing it, we confuse rest with weakness, pause with failure, calm with lack of ambition. But here's a truth no one taught us. Relaxing isn't giving up, it's trusting. It's looking life in the face and saying, I'm doing my best, and what depends on me will flow. Because true faith doesn't rush, it waits with serenity. The problem is we associate constant motion with progress. If we're not busy, we feel we're wasting time. If we're not producing, we think we're not advancing. But how often has that agitation led to confusion, rushed decisions, senseless burnout? Action without direction is just noise. And faith, that deep faith that sustains in tough times, doesn't show itself in running, but in breathing. Relaxing isn't stopping action, it's stopping forcing. It's understanding that some processes can't be sped up with pressure. That pulling a plant harder won't make it grow faster. That sometimes the wisest thing isn't to push more, but to step back, observe, and trust that life knows how to move on its own. Marcus Aurelius said it clearly. Asterisk, Don't let the future disturb you. You'll meet it, if you must, with the same reason that guides you today. Asterisk. Why do we struggle so much to relax? Because we're afraid. Afraid that if we let go of control, everything will crumble. Afraid that if we don't watch everything, we'll lose it all. But that constant tension is what breaks us inside, makes us live defensively, as if something bad could happen any moment. The anxious mind doesn't wait, it demands. It doesn't trust, it doubts. It doesn't rest, it wears out. Marcus Aurelius taught that serenity comes from distinguishing what's in our hands from what isn't courting. But when we try to control everything, we live on constant alert. And from there, no decision is wise, no step is firm, because we're reacting, not choosing. Relaxing is precisely about reclaiming that ability to choose with clarity. It's saying, asterisk, today, I won't run out of fear, I'll move forward from calm. Asterisk. I've been through moments where I felt if I stopped for a second, everything would collapse. That if I didn't respond quickly, resolve now, push harder, I'd fail. But all that achieved was drowning in my own effort. I forgot to listen to myself, to trust, to breathe, until one day I understood something simple yet powerful. Life isn't won through exhaustion, it's won through alignment. Knowing when to advance and when to wait, when to persist and when to let go. And it's in that waiting where faith is tested, not when everything flows, but when there are no sins, when nothing seems to change. That's where many give up, where they abandon, because confusing relaxing with giving up is a common mistake, but they're not the same. Giving up is closing the door. Relaxing is leaving it open, trusting that what's meant for you will find its way, not by inertia, but because you've stopped blocking it with your anxiety. True faith doesn't need to shoot, demand, or seek proof every second that everything's going well. True faith is silent. It sits, observes, smiles, and continues, even when it sees nothing, even when it doesn't understand, because IT knows life doesn't always explain itself in real time. Sometimes the meaning comes later. Sometimes the gift arrives wrapped in delay. So, if today you feel everything pushing you to run, to hurry, to stress to get there, do the opposite. Pause, relax, breathe, trust. Not because you have nothing to do, but because doing from peace is worth 10 times more than doing from tension. Because when you're in your center, everything else starts spinning in harmony. Relaxing isn't giving up. It's reminding yourself that you already are, that you already exist, that you already can. And from there, the rest arrives. Because someone at peace doesn't need to go searching. They become what everything else seeks to find. If you've made it this far, write in the comments, asterisk, the power is within me. Asterisk, I invite you to subscribe, turn on notifications, and comment so platforms recognize that these videos are valuable for people like you. This motivates us to keep creating similar content in the future. I suggest checking out the last 2 videos we recommended. Thank you sincerely for your time and support. See you in our next adventure.